Alright, welcome back to a review of my channel by _exe. Today we're going to look at more simple statistics and data example problems, which are mainly about bar graphs, line graphs, and pie charts. So here's question 1, which is pretty simple. It is about bar graphs, which shows the total number of goals scored throughout all the games in the inter-school soccer competition. So as you can see, if I zoom in here, as you can see, the number of goals, which ranges from 0 to 4, and then the number of games as the y-axis, which represents frequency. So we need to find the total number of games played, the total number of goals scored, and the percentage of games with 2 or less goals. Let's start off with part A, which is something very simple. We can just sum up all the frequencies of each bar. So we can have 5 plus 7 plus 9, which is the bar on the second graph. I mean this third bar, sorry. Plus 6 plus 3. And you will leave with an answer of 30. For part B, you need to find the total number of goals scored, which will be, first of all, for the number of goals scored in a game with 0 goals, which will be 0 times 5, which is obviously 0, plus the number of goals scored in any games with 1 goal, which will be the frequency of that class times 1. And you can just continue that. Which leaves an answer of 55. And for part C, which is the last question for this part, we have the percentage of games with 2 or less goals. So for the first percentage, we can have the total number of goals with 2 or less, the total number of games with 2 or less goals on the numerator, which will be 5 plus 7 plus 9. Note this is including 2 because the question says 2 or less goals. So a game with 2 goals is also included here. And then on the denominator, we have the total number of goals, which is 30, as found in the first question. And then multiplied by 100% if necessary. And you leave with an answer of 70%. So 70% of the goals, 70% of the games has 2 or less goals. So this is question 1. Let's jump into question 2. Alright, for question 2, this is about a line graph showing the earnings of a gift shop over a 4-month period. So as you can see, if I zoom in here, you can see the total earnings of the gift shop in $1,000, ranging from 0 to 8, and then we have the 4 months from September to December. Alright, we need to find the total earnings, the percentage increase from September to December, and a free response question as a bonus, a possible reason for the high earnings in December, as shown in the line graph here. As you can see, it is very high, if I would say. Alright, for question A, find the total earnings of the gift shop. Well, we can just sum up all the frequencies here. So we have, I'll just put the dollar on the front. So we have 2,000. Now remember, the frequency here denotes every $1,000. So we have $2,000 as the frequency of our first dot or our first class, plus the frequency of the second class, which is approximately midway between 3 and 4, which means it's $3,500 or $3,500, plus $4,000 for the third class and $8,000 for the fourth class, as you can see there, which leaves an answer of, let's see, we have $17,500, which is pretty high. And for part B, we need to find the percentage increase in earnings from September to December. Now the formula for the percentage increase is the amount of increase over the final value. So the amount of increase will be $8,000 minus $2,000 over, I should say, before the original value, which will be 2,000 multiplied by 100%, which will leave us an increase of 300%. And to be fair, that is a pretty huge increase in terms of earnings. And for part C, well, this is again, I said before, it is a free response question, and everyone might have different answers for this. So a possible reason, for my opinion, is that on December, there is a celebration of Christmas and New Year, which will probably be a banger for the earnings of that gift shop. So that probably explains why. But again, you can suggest some possible reasons in the comments down below for number 2C. Alright, so that's been number 2. Alright, for question 3, the pie chart shows Melvin's monthly expenditure, which is 80% of his monthly income. So the first sentence here will be a key to solve for numbers B and D, which is something you must keep an eye of. And for part A, what percentage is his other expenses? And to demonstrate this, I've drawn an exact replica of the pie chart. So we need to find the percentage of this class, which is the others class. Now to do that, we need to convert all of these measurements or angles into a percentage. And I forgot to label the 20% class as entertainment. I'll just put ENT just in case. Right, so I just convert this right angle into a percentage. And notice this right angle represents a quarter of the whole thing. And a quarter of the whole thing is 25% of the whole thing, so we can change this right angle as 25%. Same thing for the close. This represents 1/8 of the whole thing, and 1/8 of the whole thing represents 12.5%. Now that we have expressed all sectors in terms of a percentage, we can find the others percentage as 100% minus all of these things right here. So minus 20%, minus 25%, minus 35%, minus that, and you get an answer of 7.5%. So Melvin spent 7.5% for other things. And for part B, if he spent $105 more on entertainment than on clothes, what is his monthly income? So actually, this entertainment for this class right here actually represents 20% of his whole monthly expenditure. And we can suppose that his monthly expenditure, so monthly expenditure, to be equal to some variable x. And therefore we can form an equation in terms of x for how much he spent more on entertainment than on clothes. So we can rewrite the equation as so. So we have 20% of x minus 1/8 of x is equal to $105. Solving this, you get x to be equal to $1,400. But this is not yet the answer. since we have only found the monthly expenditure and not the total monthly income. However, there's no need to worry because in the question it says that his monthly expenditure is 80% of his monthly income, so his income will be $1,400 times 100 over 80. You get an answer of, let's see, yep. So you get an answer of this, so let me just work that out for you. So the zeros will cancel, this 8 will turn into 4, this 10 will turn into 5, and you can just do all the manipulating stuff and you get an answer of $1,750, I should say. Alright, for part C, it says calculate the amount of money spent on transport and food. Well, since we have found our monthly expenditure, we can calculate that very easy. So the amount of money spent on transport will be 35% times 1,400 plus the amount of money spent on food. And computing this, you get an answer of $850. Alright, and for part D, how many months does it take for him to save $2,800? Well, notice here that Melvin's monthly expenditure is 80% of his monthly income, and what monthly expenditure is that how much Melvin spends in a month. And for monthly income means how much money does Melvin receive or save. So if he spends 80% and he saves 100%, that means he totally saves 20% of his monthly income. So let's see, we can write his monthly save as 20% of his total income, which is $1,750, which will be $350. And notice this is a monthly save, and how many months does it take for him to save $2,800? Well, we can just compute that as $2,800 divided by $350, which will be 8 total months. And that has been question 2. Let's jump into question 4. Alright, for question 4, students of a class were asked about their favorite sports in a survey. The results are shown on the given pie chart, and we have given also that 1/6 of the pupils like swimming. And let me just zoom in right here. So we need to find the value of x as shown in the pie chart, the percentage of the students whose favorite sport is badminton, and the number of students in the class if 4 more students prefer soccer to swimming. Alright, so I've drawn another replica for this question's pie chart, and we can use the fact that 1/6 of the pupils like swimming to our advantage. So let me just label 1/6. Now 1/6 of this whole pie chart is actually equal to 60 degrees. Since 1/6 of a full rotation of a circle, which is 360 degrees, is 60 degrees. And with this, we can form an equation in terms of x, like so. So we have 60 degrees plus x degrees plus 2x degrees plus 3x degrees, which will all together make 6x degrees, is equal to the whole rotation, or 360 degrees. Which leaves us with x being equal to 50. So turns out x here is equal to 50. We need to find the percentage of students whose favorite sports is badminton. Now the angle right here will be equal to 3 times 50, which is 150 degrees. Now 150 degrees in this pie chart is actually equal to 150 degrees divided by 360 degrees and then multiplied by 100%. This is to change the units from being degrees into a percentage, and leave with an answer of 41 2/3%. And I know this result isn't as good as a number it should be. And for part C, which is the last part, we need to find the number of students in the class if 4 more students prefer soccer to swimming. Well, the angle right here of 2x is equal to 100 degrees. You can suppose that the total number of students in the class to be x. Oh, never mind. X is already used in here, so let's just suppose it to be n. So total equals a variable n. So therefore, it can form an equation in terms of x relating to how more students prefer soccer to swimming. And from this pie chart, the number of students who prefer soccer than swimming will be 100 degrees minus 60 degrees all over 360 degrees times n. Since we're finding the number of students here, so we can just eliminate the units of the degrees and then multiply it by the number of students. We know that this is equal to 4 by the question, which leaves us with an answer of n to be equal to 36. So there are 36 students in the class. So that's been question 4. Let's jump into question 5, which will be the last question of this video. Alright, for question 5, which is the last question, it says that the following data represents the average number of hours 20 students spend using the computer at home daily. So as you can see, there are random numbers appearing in and there. We need to construct a frequency table for the data, which I've constructed here along with a tally column. And also we need to draw a bar graph to illustrate the data, which I'm just going to leave that for you guys as homework. And we can just answer part C and part D later. We'll just focus on part A, which is to construct a frequency table. So the way I would do this is to write down the tallies of each class, which will represent the number of hours each student spends. So let me just be this tally writing thingy. Alright, so that is the tally written done. Now we can just label the frequencies as shown. So we have 1, 3, 4, 7, 2, 2, and 1. And perhaps I'll just add a total row for this. So I can have a total. It will theoretically represent 20. So if you sum all these numbers, you should end up with 20. Okay, and let's skip to part C, which asks what is the most common number of hours spent using the computer. Well, we can just look at which frequency is bigger, and it is 3 with a frequency of 7. So the most common number of hours spent using the computer is 3 hours. Next, and finally, I should say, we need to find the fraction of pupils who spend either 2 or 3 hours using the computer. Well, that will be the sum of the frequencies spent 2 or 3 hours, which will be 4 plus 7, and the denominator will be 20, which will give us an answer of 11 over 20. And that ends this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.